Have you ever felt so tired, so drained, that giving up felt like the only option? I want to tell you a story about a guy named Leo and how he learned to never get tired. Leo was a writer, or at least he desperately wanted to be. Every day, he'd sit down at his old wooden desk, the one he inherited from his grandfather, and pour his heart onto the page. He wrote short stories, poetry, and even started a novel. He sent his work out to dozens of publishers, his heart a frantic drumbeat with every email sent. And every time, the response was the same: a polite, soul-crushing rejection. Thank you for your submission, but it's not the right fit. Those words became the soundtrack to his life. His friends, well-meaning as they were, started dropping hints. Maybe try something else, Leo. Writing is a tough gig, you know. He saw the pity in their eyes. His savings were dwindling, and the dream that once burned so brightly was starting to feel like a flickering candle in a hurricane. The exhaustion was more than just physical. It was a deep, bone-weary fatigue that settled in his soul. He'd stare at the blank page, and the words wouldn't come. His mind felt like a barren desert. He started sleeping and procrastinating, doing anything to avoid the sting of another failed attempt. He was tired, so incredibly tired. One rainy Tuesday afternoon, after receiving his 100th rejection, Leo gave up. He closed his laptop, pushed back his chair, and went for a walk. He didn't have a destination. He just needed to move. He ended up at the local community garden, a place he hadn't visited in years. There, he saw an old woman, probably in her 80s, tending to a patch of stubborn-looking rose bushes. She moved with a slow, deliberate grace, her hands caked with dirt. Despite the drizzle, she had a small, serene smile on her face. Leo watched her for a while. "Those looked like a lot of work," he finally said. The woman looked up, her eyes twinkling. "Oh, they are," she chuckled. "They fight me every step of the way. Pests, blight, stubborn soil. But you see, my dear, I don't get tired of it." Leo was intrigued. "How do you not get tired?" She paused, snipping a dead leaf off a stem. "Because I'm not fighting them. I'm helping them grow. Every weed I pull, every drop of water I give. It's not a chore. It's an act of love. I'm not focused on the harvest. I'm in love with the gardening." Her words hit Leo like a lightning bolt. He had been so obsessed with the outcome, getting published, being called a writer, that he'd forgotten why he started. He loved the act of creation, the puzzle of putting words together, the magic of building worlds from scratch. The rejections had made him see writing as a battle he had to win. He was fighting his own creativity, trying to force it into a shape that publishers would accept. He walked home, the rain washing over him, feeling a shift deep within. The fatigue was still there, but something else was stirring alongside it. A spark of his old passion. The next morning, he sat down at his desk. He didn't open his half-finished novel. Instead, he opened a fresh document. He decided to stop fighting. He decided to garden. He started writing for himself again, exploring strange ideas, playing with words, falling back in love with the process. He wasn't writing to get published. He was writing because he was a writer. That's what he did. He wrote a short, quirky story about a man who could talk to squirrels. It was weird, it was personal, and it was the most fun he'd had writing in years. He didn't send it to a big publisher. On a whim, he submitted it to a small journal. A week later, he got an email. It wasn't a rejection. They loved it. They wanted to publish it. Reading that acceptance letter, Leo didn't feel a huge surge of victory. He just smiled. It wasn't the finish line he'd been chasing. It was just a beautiful flower blooming in the garden he had learned to tend so carefully. Leo continued to face challenges. There were more rejections, of course, but they didn't drain him anymore. They were just part of the process, like pests in a garden. He realized the secret wasn't about having endless energy. It was about changing your perspective. It was about falling in love with the effort, not just the reward. When you're chasing a dream, you will get tired. Your body will ache, and your mind will feel worn out. But you don't have to get tired ** the journey. Reframe the struggle. See it not as a battle to be won, but as an act of love, a process to be cherished. Fall in love with the practice, the repetition, the learning. The next time you feel that soul-crushing fatigue, ask yourself, are you fighting a battle or are you tending your garden? The answer to that question can change everything. You see, you never have to get tired of doing what you love